The first one had to be the loudest. When that first stone hit the ground with a dull thud, everyone standing in that circle must have felt it. It must have also been the toughest one to drop, because the dust that it raised when it hit the ground would betray the one that dropped it. To that crowd, Jesus said, "Let the one without sin be the first to cast a stone." After a moment of silence, the first person dropped their stone. I wonder who it was that dropped their stone first. Was it someone who was guilty of the same sin? Was it someone who at that very day had hurt their spouse and realized the hypocrisy of them doing this? Was it someone who had themselves been a victim of too many attacks and now felt compassion in their own heart for that woman in the middle? Was it one of the older and wiser ones who had taught themselves over the course of their lifetime to recognize truth when they heard it, and who recognized in this word from Jesus that they were hearing truth? What do you think? Who dropped their stone first? The more important question is, what would it take to get you and me to drop the stones we carry? You see, we all tend to have them, at least time to time, if not always. They are those places of anger and judgment in our heads and in our hearts when we are ready to fire our stones at anyone like that woman whom we think does not deserve love. How do you know? How does a person know when we're carrying a stone like this ready to fire? Well, here's one clear indication, I think. If we ever hear these words either on our lips or in our heads, this sentence: "What's wrong with the world is those people," typically means we got a stone ready to fire, or even just that short form, those people. You see, as was true for this crowd, so true for us. It's much easier to be angry at those people than to have to look at the fact that we have our own stuff to deal with, right? Actually, it feels great to see what's wrong with others or different groups. Look at how effective hate groups are. Do you know why? It's one of the easiest ways to mobilize a group is to name someone else as evil and bad and to fire up energy against them. Then all the evil is out there, and we don't have to look at our own complicity with what is not great in this world. And of course, we will ourselves never grow to be more fully alive. And we do not see that how we are not only hurting the world and the unity that Jesus dreamed of, but we're killing our own souls. Do you ever notice how what's wrong with the world is always some group that we're not a part of? Because it's always them. It changes from time to time, but what's wrong with the world is refugees and immigrants. Really? What's wrong with the world is Muslims or gays. Really? What's wrong with the world is the government. It's conservatives, it's liberals. Really? What's wrong with the world is people who pray that way, or it's my wife, it's my kids, it's my parents. Really? There's always somebody out there though it has been well said that in the spiritual world, your problem is always you. My problem is always me. I've got my work to do. Jesus, this crowd says through sneering lips, the problem is that woman, that sinner. She was caught in the very act of adultery, and the law says that she should be stoned. So, Jesus, do you support the law or not? It was the law, but Jesus knew that that law was unjust, and he saw right through their self-righteous anger to a real human person, shamed, terrified, about to be killed. And so he says this amazing and brilliant sentence, "Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to cast their stone." There was silence as this angry flash mob all hold their hands, their stones in their hands. And then the first one had what it took to drop his stone. There was silence, and then soon the others followed. Now, here's a side note. When it comes to judging others, know that Jesus never says, do not use your intellect. Jesus never says, don't make discerning judgments about what is healthy and right, loving and good. Please do that. And if we did use our highest reasoning functions, we would see that this anger and willingness to throw stones at that woman was far worse than anything she did. Not to mention that there's no word about the man who was also a part of this. This anger against those people is a dangerous enemy, a dangerous energy. Please be very careful of those individuals, our groups, at school, our work, on blogs, on social media, on radio or TV, whose energy seems to be to try to get us to be angry at those people. It's killing our souls. And it's one of the things that our teenagers and young adults find difficult about organized religion, that our teens and young adults find difficult about politics and other institutions, how we tell ourselves that it's okay to vilify groups of people while whitewashing our own complicity to the harm that's caused to this world and other people. They have a point. And for me, personally, even if the cause is good, if the people involved are filled with anger and ready to go attack, I will never join that group. It's just not Jesus. It's not. Even if there's a valid point, that approach is not Jesus. It's not God. It's a misguided anger and arrogance that does too much destruction to others, but also to everyone in the group. And if you don't think this is true, please listen carefully next weekend, Palm Sunday, when we hear that passion proclaimed, when Jesus, the best and truest person who ever lived, will become a victim of this very kind of mentality and righteous anger. Jesus would never use such a technique, but he would become a victim of it. Today, after Jesus spoke again, I don't know who dropped their stone first, but this week, with God's grace, let it be you and me. With God's grace, let it be us.